Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and my brother, the celebrants Chris Okoye and his adorable wife. It gives me so much pleasure to be part of this event holding at the coal city Enugu, which has a place of honor in Nigeria's history. But let me start by wishing my friend and brother, Engineer Chris Okoye, and his beautiful wife a very happy birthday. May the good Lord bless and keep you in all that you do and continue to expand your coast. And I pray that the path of common good that both of you have chosen will keep you both scaling more heights and scoring several more goals. Amen. It is with a very deep sense of responsibility and commitment that I address you today as chairman of the public presentation of the book titled In Brotherhood We Stand, a Roadmap for the Rebirth of a Fragmented Nation, written by the birthday boy Chris Okoye himself. This book is of interest to me because it is a direct fallout from the National Political Reform Conference, which my administration organized in 2005, and which Chris Okoye is a delegate. The 22-chapter book can be described as prescriptively interesting and exciting. As I said during my inaugural speech to the delegates, the National Political Reform Conference presented us with the opportunity to reassess, refocus, redefine, and redesign our political landscape in a direction that will strengthen the bonds of unity, enhance the process of democracy consolidation, strengthen the structures so as to solidify those values that promote democracy, good governance, and good neighborliness, and open boundless opportunities for all Nigerians to be and to feel that they are integral part of the evolving political process and socio-economic advancement of a nation destined to be great. Late Professor Ben Nwabweze, in his foreword to the book, stated, and I quote, "A time comes in the life of a nation when she must do away with histrionics and face the reality of her development challenges with courage, honesty, and commitment." End of quotation. The clarion call in Nigeria today is one for restructuring and a reassessment of the terms of our union as a nation. No matter how economically viable a nation is, bad governance and a wrong system of administration can bring it down. Indeed, there's direct correlation between economic and political reforms. As a nation, our history reveals clearly that we have been through some difficult times and have missed great opportunities. Our historical experiences at constitution making and political reforms show that we may have some structural defects that require adjustment so as not to continue to constrain the deepening, widening, and consolidation of democratic values and practices. Indeed, some of the contradictions and challenges bequeathed by the colonial administration have continued to pose problems for us to this day. And one of such bequests is Western liberal democracy. As things stand, therefore, our constitution-making efforts must go down to the grassroots to deal with the issues of inclusion, popular participation, equity, ownership, and legitimacy, rights and obligations with adequate components of African communalism, caring and sharing. While we have managed to work with available instruments and institutions over the years, some of the imperfections in the system and the constrained legitimacy of the instrument have culminated in seeming alienation of some constituencies and the inability to have all hands on deck. These, over time, had led to coups and counter-coups, political manipulation, weak political parties, and poor leadership, corruption, and the inability of the state to meet the basic needs of the people. In one word, we have been rolling from one bad governance to another. In the process, we try to adjust to the weaknesses of the system and equally adapted to doing without some of those fundamentals that really ought to drive the political process. Some issues that have emerged include, but are not limited to, the challenge of constitutionalism and constitutional reform, the opportunity to bring all stakeholders together to discuss the preferred political path for the nation, the challenge of building new, accountable, responsive, and focused leadership with enchanting character and attributes, and how to build, operate, and sustain real political liberties, social justice, rights and obligations, electoral reforms that ensure credibility, integrity, and respectability of elections, relation between tiers of government, performance of government, and how to ensure truly democratic governance for all. In all of this, the central challenge is still how to strengthen the social contract between the custodian of state powers and the governed, and whoever we are, giving ourselves mutual respect. Of course, not all segments, constituencies, and individuals will be or can be totally satisfied. This is normal in every nation, and we are no individual or group should be deliberately or systemically left out. The best way to express maturity and patriotism is to be positive and objective. What we want in Nigeria is unity, cohesion, equity, justice, togetherness, and collective commitment to our progress and to the Nigeria project. We want to move forward, look forward, move up, and look up about the past to help the present and to inspire the future, and work for a stronger and more united Nigeria in a true democracy with African content. In a democracy, there must be checks and balances, and there must be effective watchdogs with African history and culture. One issue that have to resolve. One issue we have to resolve is who watches the watchdog effectively and transparently, with whistle blowing at the levels of the legislature, executive, judiciary, and the fourth estate of the realm. Critically, one of the areas I think we have the greatest headache is in our composition and performance of the electoral management body, the Independent National Electoral Commission. Let the President recommend and let the National Assembly compose the commission after public hearing to expose each candidate so that the hidden and dark aspect of their life can be seen. And the body must be responsible to the National Assembly to reduce the influence of the executive and reduce the possibility of rigging emanating from the top. This book in Brotherhood will stand a road for the rebirth of a fragmented nation. May not be the total solution to Nigeria's problems and challenges, but it will certainly be one of the sure guides for the Nigeria of our dreams, where democracy and good governance are sustained, and where our diversity become the strongest fusion of our unity. From my observation in the book, not attempt to analyze nor compare, it may create vision of workable system and set out to present proposals and programs that can be said to be realistically designed and calculated for the realization of the system that will work. That will work better. This book resonates as an actionable treatise on the nature of Nigeria's federalism. It proposes reform of the judiciary and makes a case for collapse of grouping of the present 36 states into regional structures using the 6 geopolitical zones as a template. It shows at a glance that the failure of the nation's democracy is indeed the result of the absence of strong institutions and platforms upon which democracy must thrive. The recurrent problem of electoral corruption and lack of free and fair and credible election as such, which thrives when political institutions are weak, was not left out. 2 important organs of the democratic society, the judiciary and the legislature, were presented as indispensable handmaids of a democratic state. The burning issue on the composition of our electoral umpire, INEC, is also not left out. A very strong note in this very well-produced book is the issue of restructuring and referendum to assert the sovereignty of the people to effect changes in a polity. The experiences of several nations on the power of the people through referendum show that it has been successfully used in authenticating of policies, building institutions, and the adoption of political systems and leadership. It cannot be any different in Nigeria. Well, there will be areas where others will not fully agree with Chris Okoye in this book, even though it's essentially the outcome of a conference. I have areas of my reservation, but it is a book that can enhance the discourse and raise the level of discourse on Nigeria of our dream, Nigeria that we want, a Nigeria that will lift us up to where God has created us to be. Lastly, I must not fail to congratulate Engineer Chris Okoye, Engineer Chris Okoye's wife, Professor Ifeoma Okoye, for attaining the biblical age of 70 and still going strong, for successfully bringing to a close a very impactful career in the Nigerian health sector. Madam, you may be retired, but certainly not tired or old at all. from the way you look. And if I may dare say, by comparison, you and I, if I am still not old, you cannot claim to be old. And when the global community, Nigerian nation, and the authorities of the University of Nigeria in Nsukka and the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, UMTH, come knocking, please do not turn your back on them. I cannot close this speech without acknowledging the efforts of a Nigerian that is slowly but surely becoming the conscience of our nation. I'm talking, of course, my brother Peter Obi, in ensuring I share this occasion. He left no stone unturned to make sure that I make myself available. I am glad that I do online. Thank you all, and may God bless Nigeria and every Nigerian, especially at a time such as the one we are presently living in. Thank you for listening.